This is Debra again. Today we are going to do this fun little watercolor project, and the materials that you will need are glue. This was once white glue, but I added black paint to it, and I shook it and shook it and shook it up until it was evenly distributed. I'll explain why I did that in just a moment. You will also need watercolors, brushes, a black pencil, or a black marker. You will need water, paper napkins, and watercolor paper, or if you don't have watercolor paper, you can use any type of heavy paper, because once we use watercolor, the water will penetrate into the paper and make it a little bit soggy, especially if the paper is really lightweight. So I would recommend watercolor paper if you have it. All right. Now, as I explained, I added black paint to my white glue. And what I'm going to do with this is I am going to make patterns on my paper. I'm going to use the elements of art, which are shape and line and texture. The black glue will give it the texture that I need. So I want to show you how to do this. I am just going to go down. I'm going to do some curves. There's no wrong way to do this. It's so much fun. And I'm going to do more lines. Now, I want you to make sure that once you add these lines, that they connect to the bottom of the paper in some way, because that will separate areas on the paper in which you can add paint, watercolor paint. So, this will take some time to dry. So if you could just set it to the side, work on it perhaps the next day. And this is what the results are. Now, as you can probably see, the glue stands up off of the paper, which gives it the texture that I'm wanting. I did these in advance. And this is the glue that is now dry. I have a couple of different pieces. Now, watercolors. If you don't have watercolors, you're more than welcome to use food coloring. And if you don't have food coloring, this is kind of neat. You're going to take your old dried out markers. You're going to take that lid off, and you're going to stick those markers in a jar of water. Wait overnight. Look at the jar, and the colors from the marker have sunk into the water, and that's your homemade watercolors. It's kind of neat. So, but today I am going to use my pan of watercolors. I'm going to pick up my brush. You're going to want to wet your brush as well as you can. Now, the colors that I will be using will be complementary colors. And if you're wondering about complementary colors, I'm going to let you know what that's all about. This is your standard color wheel. There are 3 primary colors: red, yellow, and blue. Red, yellow, blue. Now, a complementary color is the color opposite. So let's say we have blue. Opposite blue would be orange. That's a beautiful complementary color. They work very, very well together. The other complementary colors are yellow straight across on the color wheel to purple. Yellow, purple. And Another set of complementary colors are red, straight across, green. And this is my result of the colors that I have chosen. Now, you don't have to use complementary colors because personally, I think all colors are just beautiful together. I would stay away from black paint because you already have your black contrast with the glue that has dried on your paper. Okay, I am going to start with my favorite color, green. Now, I'm not going to load up my brush real heavily with water because it will make your paint, your watercolor paint, too transparent. You'll be able to see through it. And you want the color to be as rich as possible. So I am going to work my brush into that black paint, into that green paint, excuse me. And I'm going to apply my color. So then your eye just travels. It travels like this, right? Okay, I'm gonna rinse my brush out real well. It's very important you rinse your brush clear. Excuse me. Now I'm gonna rinse my brush and I wanna make sure there's green paint is completely out of my brush. Yep, and when I put it on my paper towel, I don't see any green getting on my towel. Okay, time to choose another color. Yellow. Load up my brush. Move that water into that paint. Pick up as much pigment as you can. Gonna show you what's going on so far. Do you see how that black lines made from the black glue, how it really pops out all of those colors? All right. I like this orange. What are your thoughts about that? Pretty nice, right? I think I am going to add a little bit of orange. Oh, I'm going to add some right here in the middle. Just makes my eyes go from here up. I like it. I like that a lot. Okay. Here is the result. All right. Again, you're going to set this to the side, wait until tomorrow, and proceed with the next step. This is a sample of a piece I did yesterday. It's nice and dry. Now I'm going to start adding doodles to it. This is when you pick up your black marker. And I have some samples of different doodles. You can find a lot of different doodles online as well. But these are just some ideas that you could use for doodling. I'm just going to do a few little doodles on my paper. And then I'm going to show you a sample that I had done earlier with the doodles on it. Okay, let's see. I am going to start with circles. I am just going to add circles in all kinds of different places on top of the color blue. And you're going to choose a different line, different shapes to put in each color. All right. That adds quite a bit of interest, doesn't it? I'm not going to go through all the doodles with you, but I can show you my sample. It sure changes the way your painting looks, doesn't it? Well, I'm going to go over the steps once more. You're going to need a heavier paper, watercolor paper preferred, black glue. How do we get the black glue? We add black paint to the white glue and shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, so the paint is evenly distributed. You're just going to loosely make curves and lines, interesting shapes. Place this to the side until it dries. Add your watercolor. Place it to the side while it dries. Last step, doodling. I'm sure you'll enjoy this project, and thank you for joining me today.